my DJ lives and like that.
No doubt.
So
Peace, peace. Welcome to Spears and Mics. We got myself, Zulu King L1. We got Shaka Zulu Watt and Zulu King Just P. And we got very, very special guests. We got the brother Cisco and Risto from the original Ghetto Brothers, the Ghetto Brothers. And we're very honored to have these brothers in here to tell their story and inform us about the Ghetto Brothers and their time in the Bronx. Thank you, brothers. We're honored to have you here. Thank you for coming to Spears and
You have to
Mics.
Definitely. Peace.
Peace, peace.
please, brother.
Yeah.
please,
Um,
because nobody thought I'd make it this long.
yeah,
You know.
no,
Number
no,
four.
definitely blessings of health and success to you both. It's an honor to be with the originals right before us, for
Yeah,
real.
it's not.
Tell
It
us
might
about
be.
your stories, about who y'all are and let the world know who may not be too familiar with the Ghetto Brothers. I'm sure a lot of people know a lot or a good amount, but they're gonna hear it from the originals now. So this is a big, big, big,
You want
great
to start?
experience for everyone.
Well, I could tell you one thing, that a lot of things that are out there are not actually true.
Mm,
No, and I came back. We started this all over again because I was on Facebook and a guy named Tom Man Rosario put a picture of a school, right? And he said, "Who knows anything about this school?" And I said, "Well, that's PS 51, and we used to fight with that school every day, because there was a church in between and a lot, and down the block was 124, and that's the one we went to on Tintin and Forest, right? Um, Jackson was Trinity and Jackson was PS 51. So he said, "Oh shit, old school gangster," and then we started talking, and the name Charlie came up, right? And I said, "Oh shit, how could I get in touch with him?" And I was looking for Charlie, and he said, Karate Charlie, and he said, "No, look for Carlos Suarez." When I did, then Karate Charlie said, "Oh shit, you mother," he gave me all kind of, how you doing, man, and all this. And, and let it be known that you will be in charge of all in New York, all in New York ghetto brothers. I said, "No, I wasn't into it, and because that's not what I wanted, because I went a different way in life. You see, this wasn't my life, like Benji, Charlie, and all these other ones. You know, once I left the Ghetto Brothers, I left the Ghetto Brothers. You understand? I left them, okay? Um, and then, so I got back into it, and I went to the anniversary on Whole Avenue, Peace Treaty anniversary with the peacemakers and all that, and I spoke. Uh, and one thing about that is I'm the only one that spoke about Black Benji.
Yeah, I
mm,
remember that. Yeah.
I'm the only one that spoke about Black Benji because everybody else made it about themselves. I said,
mm.
we on,
No, Bam Bam did it. Bam
yeah,
Bam did it.
okay,
Bam Bam did
Yeah.
it.
He
Bam
spoke.
from the Spades.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
the supreme uh peace warlord
He was the warlord of the space
of the whole
rock.
space.
Yeah.
All the
Right.
space.
He was, he said hi to me and all that. And, you know, remember, we're talking about 50 something years, and,
Hmm.
I remember things correctly.
I
Well,
think I put a picture, if I'm not mistaken, I put a picture of us three. Bam Bam, him and me in the peace meeting. It should be in Facebook.
Okay.
you
Wow.
know, so we did that. I can start by saying that I grew up on 163rd Street in Prospect. I was from there. Right? And on Stebbins Avenue, which now they call it Reverend Polite, you know,
Hmm.
on the street or avenue, there's a corner store, right? And I'm with my boys and we're walking out the store and I hear three kids singing, right? 3 kids singing. And I say, oh shit, these kids are good and they sound like the Beatles, you know? So I called all my boys from up the hill, come down the hill, right? And we started listening to them, and we brought them, of course, sodas and candy. And that's how we accepted Benji, Robert, and Victor, you know, to 163rd Street. Okay? Even before the Ghetto Brothers. Because, you know, back then, if you didn't belong, if you didn't live in the neighborhood, you couldn't hang out in the neighborhood. You
Mm.
know, I'm talking about in the 60s, right? Because I met him in 67. And, you know, we just got along with these guys. You know, they sounded great. We got along. Then they hooked up with David and Bull, and they made the group. They made a band out of it, right? Now, because you got to separate the gang and the band. See, a lot of people get mistaken. You know, they got a Ghetto Brothers gang and a Ghetto Brothers band. Now, the Ghetto Brothers band is still, they were still Ghetto Brothers, but they were more into their music, but because they were all Benji, Robert, Victor, Little Dave, right at that time, Frankie, my cousin Angel, you know, my brother-in-law Angel, we were there. I went to Puerto Rico. When I went to Puerto Rico, I come back. Now they're the Ghetto Brothers on 162nd Street, the main division, right? I just walked in there. I said hi to everybody, and I was a Ghetto Brother. That's it, because that's my neighborhood, and I brought him in there. And I knew Charlie from Forest Avenue in Tinson before he was even with the Ghetto Brothers, right? Before they got together. So I became a Ghetto Brother. And like that, and I walk in, and it was just a dark place. It was, you know, big, pretty big. And it was like 2 stores together. There was a sweatshop before that, right? They had a church across the street, and this between Prospect and Westchester, I'm talking, on 162nd Street. Correct? So, I said, oh man, you know, damn, you know, what could I do? I had a little experience with acquisition, right? Because I was in Serra when they first opened up Serra. I don't know if you guys know what Serra is. You don't know? So that was
No.
the first bilingual drug program in the whole United States. And it was based on Whole Avenue. It was called Serra because Frank Gracia from Phoenix House and Rockers Island decided to make this program for Puerto Ricans that didn't speak English, you know? So what happened was that it blew up. I went there for a little while and I came out. When I came out, that's when I went into the Ghetto Brothers. So what I did was I set up a meeting with the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, right? And we went down there. I took a shot at it. I said, let's take a shot at it, right? And this happened when they took Charlie, right? Because Charlie disappeared for a minute, right? Because of the military.
Yeah, AWOL.
You know, so I would say I told Armando because there's a video out there that I did, and we went through every site, and I showed Kwame and I showed Steve and everything because we did a walkthrough of the neighborhood, right? And I explained to them where everything was at, where we rumbled at, which is 133 Schoolyard, was our favorite place, and PS 60 right down the block. So we were standing outside, and somebody said, well, now that Charlie's gone, who's going to be your vice president? And Yellow Benji says, he is. And I looked, I said, oh shit. I wasn't going to tell him no, you know? I wasn't going to tell him no. And that's the way I became vice president. Now, I'm a person that I'm a visionary. I have ideas, you know? I'm not, and a lot of ghetto brothers didn't like what I did, but I did it, you know? Um, the first thing I did was let's fill up this headquarters. And that's when I went to the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico with Victor, with Robert. There was another guy with us and Yo Benji. And I went and I asked, I said, we are, you know, a gang from the South Bronx. We have a sweeping campaign going. We have a center. We're not a hostile group, but we don't have anything to put in the center. Could you help us out with some recreational equipment, right? And we said, he said, he nodded his head, he said everything. After we spoke for a while, we left. About a week and a half later, a truck pulls up in front of headquarters, and they call me. Some other guys, some of the ghetto brothers come in, they looking for you out here. And there's a big white truck, and I signed with my name. I signed off. And out came a pool table, out came a TV, out came a stereo, out came a ping pong table, out came a chair, out came, they sent me everything. And that's how we filled up headquarters. Okay? Because headquarters was blank. I don't know if you ever went when it was dark, right? Yeah. It just had a few chairs and that was it. So now it's full. Now it has more life to it. Now we have, even Pop told me, the peacemakers, that he used to go out there and play pool. Now we have a lot of people coming to hang out from other gangs, right? And I said, oh, wait, this is not good. Let's get IDs, right? That's when my mind said, let's get IDs for the Ghetto Brothers. Not only because of that, but because if you were stopped in the street and you said you were a Ghetto Brother, the cops didn't fuck with you much, you know, because they knew what we were about. Because we had a sweeping campaign, we had a food program, right? We had karate classes, we had the Black Panthers used to come by and give us Black history classes, and we had the young lords that used to come by and teach us our Puerto Rican history, right? So we had a lot of things going. And now it's becoming real. A lot of people coming in. I got 250 IDs. The first time I made them, I could tell you where I printed them at. Between Intervale and Kelly on 163rd Street, they had a print shop there, and that's where I got them done. So other people that might say that that was their idea, that's part of the bullshit that's going out. Part of the bullshit that's going out there. You know what I mean? Another thing was that now, my vision for the Ghetto Brothers was to make it an organization like the Young Lords. Okay? So, at one point, I started taking off the elite jackets. I started taking off the colors. I said, these colors gotta come off because we are being too much stereotyped, right? And a lot of people were against that. Yeah, well, Armando was one, you know. And then I put berets. I put berets with a red star and a black beret with a red star and the fatigues, the army fatigues. So that's why you see pictures a lot with Benji and Charlie with fatigues and berets and all that. That was my idea. Now, Armando, he could. A different story. I'll get to that. Yeah, he'll do that part when it gets to that part. But a lot of people didn't like it, you know. What happened was, when Black Benji was, I'm going to tell my story, and I tell you one thing. Anything I say, I'm willing to take a lie detector test for. Anybody's willing to challenge me, I'll put up $10,000 or $20,000 that everything I say, I did. Okay? And everything I say,
you stand by.
I stand by. Because a lot of lies are out there. Okay? And I tell you, I'll because we're gonna get into a part, right? So, baby, give me a ginger ale. Okay, and get this over water. And so what happened was the day that Black Benji died, right? I was addressing the Ghetto Brothers and Ghetto Sisters because we didn't have property of. I think the Ghetto Brothers was one of the only gangs that didn't have females wasn't property of. Ghetto Sisters were Ghetto Sisters, and they had their own structure. They had their own president. They had their own vice president. And I got rid of that warlord stuff, right? And we started going Ghetto Brothers staff, Ghetto Brothers security. I got rid of all that because we were looked as a gang. Anytime they say, well, you're in a gang, and you start all that foul language and all that shit, I try to get rid of because that wasn't becoming of us. That wasn't giving a good image of us. Even though the younger kids still wanted to curse, still wanted to fight, you understand? Still wanted to do all that stuff. And I said, now we growing. Now we growing. There was always newspaper people around us. And then they had the 2 meetings. I know I went to one. And I believe that was the peace treaty. I don't know if I went to the second one. Because when I was addressing, let's say the Ghetto Brothers are that way, right? And we had the doors over here. Playboy ran in, right? He ran in and he said, there's some guys coming down 165th Street and it looks like they're looking for trouble. I took a couple of guys and I started to go out to see who was these guys coming down, to Horseshoe Park, right? Horseshoe Park was the little park right there where Spades hung out, right? And some schools hung out sometimes, but because it was a junior high school. So Black Benji stopped me. He stopped me while on my way out. He said, no, 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 you stay here. You stay here. I'll go. He still had his colors on, though. I had my long army jacket and my beret, which I still have one there. And about 15 minutes later, Playboy runs back in. Oh, they jumped him. They jumped in, and all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose, right? They took him to the old Lincoln, and they just jumped on the bus, grabbed cabs, they did everything, and went. And I stood there, and I sent for Yellow Benji, because Yellow Benji wasn't there. No matter who says whatever, Yellow Benji wasn't there. Okay? Charlie, of course, wasn't there because he was away in the army. Well, whatever the army was doing with him. Okay? I'm the one that sent for Yellow Benji. He came back, he came down pretty fast. He was hanging on Tiffany and Foxway. He used to live up that way, right? So I'm walking. I don't know if you guys know the Bronx good, but the crossroads between 163rd, 162nd, Westchester, and Stebbins. The train is all the way up there, right? I don't know if you guys know.
Yeah,
We
I'm
didn't
familiar
have,
with it.
yeah, we didn't have cell phones back then. We didn't. How in the hell? And within half hour, the first gang that got to us was the Black Falcons from 183, 183rd and 3rd Avenue. They got to us back. They were a motorcycle gang, right? And then a lot of gangs started coming in because they heard what happened. Now you looking at more than 300-400 gang members, quick, filling up that area, right? And it was Fort Apache, the old Fort Apache, right? It was Sergeant Martinez. Okay? He had a brown suit on, mohair suit, and he started talking to me about what was happening. But by that time, Yellow Benji got here, he took over, right? He took over. Yeah, Black Benji's grandmother, or
His mother.
his mother was right there, yeah. His mother came right there, and she was right in the cycle of us four talking. And the one that was begging for us not to retaliate was Sergeant Martinez, because he's seen so many gang members. He said, this is not going to be good. You know, this is not going to be good. And he begged us not to fight, not to retaliate. Now, I've learned different since, right? But at that time, the word that got to us, that it was the Immortals that did it, right? There was no mention of Black Space involvement, okay? There was no mention of that, right? But I found out later that, yeah, it was a Black Spade that did it.
But they were there. A few of them, they used to hang out.
They used to hang out in Horseshoe Park, but they came from Whole Avenue, and that's where the 7 Immortals and the Immortals. So they had 7 Immortals, and they had Immortals, and they had Mongols there, right? So that's what I heard it was, Mongols and Immortals, right? And that they were flushing there. When they found out that they heard a Ghetto brother, they didn't know what to do with their jackets. They didn't know what to do. Somebody told me they just was trying to flush them. They was breaking them up. They were doing all kinds of things, right? How true is that? I don't know. But that's the story that got to us. Now, along the line of the speech right there, Benji's mother said, please don't do nothing. Please, you're not going to bring him back. You're not going to bring him back. And you know what? We listened to her, and we listened to her. I heard later on, then Charlie came out, some other wild things, but I was gone by then, okay? We looked at each other, we said, we're not going to do anything. Now, a lot of people could say, oh, that, because I heard somebody say, no, that I was there with Charlie and Benji, and we went to their mother's house, and we did. I said, that's impossible, because Charlie wasn't there. Well, that person's not talking to me no more, okay? Because I called the person out. Okay, I'm not gonna drop names. I'm not here to drop names. Okay. So that's the way that went down. That went down. Now the meeting went down. The first meeting I remember because the Post wrote about me. And Geraldo Rivera interviewed me. Because Benji said, take the interview. We had, for Christmas, we were giving the kids toys. There was the ladies, the mothers and that, cooked the food, and the press was there, and everything was popping, and the band was getting ready to play. Headquarters was really, really popping. Because headquarters was alive because we had a lot to offer. We had all the TV, we used to have Corky, he used to sing also. We used to have, it was there were a lot of people in and out, right? I took the interview with Geraldo Rivera. And that's what I need to find, because I don't know how hard it's been for me. Do I have to get a lawyer to do this? Right? But I'm not lying on this one, okay? A lot of people say, oh, I wasn't this, I wasn't that. Yeah, well, we'll find out the truth, because with that, any money that they want to bet me, with that, then I put up the money to get a lawyer. And to go on Channel 7 and get me the interview, because the interview was done when Geraldo Rivera was working for Channel 7. Okay? And we came out, and and I remember because I blew his mind, okay? I said, he said, I'm here. We squatted down, right? And there was Ghetto Brothers behind us and everything. And I think I gave a picture so you can see it. And then I have a video with Benji's nephew that remembered me. When they named the street, he remembered me. He said, and he didn't, I wasn't facing him. He remembered me from the back. He said, I remember you. And when we spoke, he said, but they didn't even let me talk at that point. They didn't let me talk, right? Because everybody made it about them. And they didn't want to hear what I had to say because then I'm going to discover a lot of lies. A lot of people don't like me because I'm telling the truth. And they've been living off a lie. That book that they wrote about Benji, I got it there. When I seen that it was a comic book, yeah. I didn't like it. I put it down. I never read it. Somebody else read it and said that he said this, he said that. And a lot of things that wasn't true. Okay? I'm not here to judge nobody. Okay? What happened, Geraldo said, I'm here with Evaristo Román, Vice President of Ghetto Brothers, from the South Bronx and everything. So he asked me, he said, what are you guys about? I said, well, right now we are victims of circumstances. That's the way society is looking at it because we are labeled a gang. But a gang is a Jewish word, which means a group of people striving for the same cause. That is what we're trying to do. We striving for the same cause. We all want a better community. We have a sweeping campaign, a food program, Black and Spanish history. We have karate classes, right? I dropped it on him, and I did not curse one time. Not one time did I curse. And he was like, whoa. I said, we got to get over the staff. We got to get over the departments. We don't have no warlords. We don't have none of that stuff. Sergeant, we don't use none of that. Okay? Because my view was to make it an organization. Okay? And I'm sure there's some Ghetto Brothers alive out there that are remembering me because I wasn't the toughest. I don't know why Benji picked me, right? Because there was a lot of badass people more than me. But he already knew me. And he already knew my mind. So I guess he knew I was going to take care of business. Okay? And that's what I did. Because Benji didn't pay too much attention to the gang part. He paid more attention to the music part.
He pay attention depending the situation, what was happening, with all the divisions and stuff. But yeah,
that was his part. If I said let's do this, he would say okay. I will go to him for everything. He will give me the permission, and that's it. Okay, it's a green light. What happened was after the peace treaty, a lot of people still wanted to fight. Like the Claremont chapter in Claremont, they wasn't too happy.
No, they were allos.
They just wanted, Karate Pete and all that. They wanted to keep, wearing the colors, acting all stupid. Armando tell you his part. It's like we were going somewhere, but I was only one person. I was only one person that wanted this. I didn't get the backing too much when other people objected from Benji. Instead of saying, no, we're going to continue to do this, by that time I was gone. The reason I left was, right, because I know you guys are going to probably ask me this, right, why did I leave? I left because one time I went and I opened up headquarters and everything inside was gone. Everything inside was gone. And I said, oh, shit.
And never knew who.
And then when I brought it up to Benji, what we gonna do about this? Man, that gave me the answer I needed to know. That's all I needed to know. Because if I was the president and somebody robbed me, I was gonna break loose. All hell was gonna break loose. When I seen nothing happen, I said, okay, it's my time to leave. And I left, okay? And I left after I had all these good visions and we were getting there. We had the IDs, we had the vision IDs, we had the guys and girls coming, we had the kids involved. And that's why Black Benji's nephew remembered me too, because we didn't allow kids, right? But one or two of them got in there because Black Benji was always with his kid, with his nephew. You know, he used to bring him a lot to headquarters. We allow it. One time I had to throw him out, and he remembered that, okay? Because we were going to talk some business. We said it was music, but it wasn't music. You know, because when we needed to take care of business, we took care of business. You understand? But we did not. I remember one time in 133rd schoolyard, we were fighting. I forgot who it was we were rumbling with. But the way we did it was, right? It was in a basketball court in the schoolyard of 133, right where they later killed somebody, not the Ghetto Brothers, but somebody else, which I'm not going to drop no name. We were two men at a time. The two of your guys against two of our guys. For 10 minutes, right? We'll fight. Another two. And when the cops came by, we would take out the basketball and we would start passing the basketball around. Right? So they thought we were playing basketball and not actually fighting. We had the lookouts on each quarter, 165th Street, the one on where Horseshoe Park up on Prospect with, and down at my Stebbins. Whenever the cops would come in, the whistle came, and that's it, we'd start passing the basketball. It so happened that one guy, they were losing bad, and one guy decided to take a chain out and throw it at the guy that was getting beat up. And that all hell broke loose. All hell broke. Everything broke, you know? And that was just one of the rumbles we had. We had another one down in West 60. We had one in 160 schoolyard that you can go in two ways and you go down the steps and it's a nice little area, you know. But when I used to fight with Charlie and them, we used to fight in 124 schoolyard because they had a little bend like that and nobody could see there. You see, so we'll take everybody back there and fight. You know, because remember, my first gang was in Rosedale when I lived in the Rosedale projects, right? We were the 7 hoods, right? Because we used to, they had the buses. I used to go PS 47 and they had the dead end boys right there by Rosedale, a bunch of white boys, right? If they caught any of us from the projects around there, they would beat the shit out of us, right? So at night, we used to get together and go after them until we started gaining their respect. And that's the way that part happened, you know? But my heart was always be with the Ghetto Brothers. And now we are what we are, and we're still doing good for the community. It's just a few of us, but I have a bunch of clothes there that we're giving out. I got like 20 bags in my friend's house that we're gonna take down that we should give out next week. The last 2 years ago, last year, we gave out a bunch of Michael Kors coats. We gave out everything. We gave it out with Ponce of the Savage Skull. We gave it out in the boxing club right there. A lot of new coats, $300 and $400 coats. We gave them out free. Okay, because I changed the name to Ghetto Brothers community, right? Because somebody said that we were after certain people, a couple of friends of mine on Facebook, because they said that they were selling, somebody was buying colors. But there's a chapter in Brooklyn of the Ghetto Brothers, but they don't know nothing about me, so they said they're not going to respect me. They don't know nothing. I said, did you ever come to headquarters? If you never came to headquarters, then you can't say that I'm not who I am, because you never saw me. Okay? Now, you can do whatever you want over there. You can live the life you want over there. But over here, you know, just like I spoke to a person from Connecticut, no, you try to keep the name alive with respect, you know, and good deeds, because we were something special. You know, I seen Tiny. I started to listen to the interview, right? And we got involved with Tiny. We were all under the umbrella of United We Stand, United We Stronger. You know, and we formed and we gave out food on 149th Street to over 400 people. And you know, we've done a lot of good stuff
with the Ghetto Brothers, the Space, and also the Peacemakers.
No, yeah, Peacemakers and the G family, Wise, and them. But it's just a few of us, because a lot of people say, why don't you get a lot more? I said, because if they're not about community, if they're not about the community, I'm not interested in having them with us. So they have to have a positive mind. I got another young kid that's coming in with us. We have another female from Yonkers. So we're growing slowly, and we're still doing the good things. We have we speak in schools. We have an art thing that staff has, you know. Then so, you know, we're doing things. Armando could talk for a while now.
All right. All that he's talking about happened on the east side of the Bronx. I have to say that. I'm from the west side. All right.
By Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I'm from, my area is Yankee Stadium area, but I'm actually from the west side. Now, I've been to headquarters, of course. I knew Benji personally. I know a lot of the big presidents of some other gangs and all that. My story was, I came in this country in '69. I'm Cuban. But if you see me, I act Puerto Rican because that's who I grew up with. You know, I grew up with blacks, Puerto Rican, and in my neighborhood, we still had Irish kids at that time, and we all got along. There was no separation. You was messing with one, you was messing with all of us. That's the beauty of Irish people. When they're by themselves, you don't want to fuck with them. But when they're hanging out with us, they become one of us. I don't know, it's just in their DNA. So anyway, I went to school, junior high school, 117. That's on 176th Street and Morris Avenue. I went there. They put me in a class to learn English because I didn't know no English.
CRM.
Yeah. So while I was there was 4 gangs going on in there. Well, 3. You had the Black Space, another gang called the Black Warriors, and then, 4 gangs, because you had the Royal Javelins and the Screaming Phantoms. And the Screaming Phantom headquarters was on the other side of the concourse. Huh? I'm screaming. I'm sorry. I talk loud. They were on the other side of the concourse. So now I go there and I'm watching what's going on. Now you got to keep in mind, man, in my country, we were fortunate enough to have a TV. So they used to put on all 1940 movies. And my favorite movie to this day or all day is Angels with Dirty Faces. And the reason, I don't know if you're familiar with that movie.
You gotta be old to know that.
It's with James Cagney and the Dead End Boys. And what attracted me wasn't James Cagney. It was the dead end boys doing their thing in the street. That was my vision of what New York was like. I didn't know. So I came here. Of course, that's not how New York is. But I got that idea. I wanted to be in that environment, with a whole bunch of kids doing stupid shit and all that. So while I'm there, I meet Mitch Green. He's the vice president. He was the president. He was the leader of the space in that school. And we happened to have Chop together. He was the first man that got me high on glue. That's what we used to do in the back of the class. We used to go in the back of the class and
Cisco,
smell, and sniff glue.
Cisco, you talking
So
about
little by little,
Mitch
I
Blood
met a
Green, right?
couple of ghetto brothers.
Speaking. Go ahead.
And I decided.
What was that?
I
No,
decided.
I was saying that you talking about Mitch Blood Green, the boxer, the one
Yeah,
that fought Mike
Mitch Black
Tyson.
Green.
For the record, so
The
people know.
wonderful Tyson. Yeah, he was the leader of the space there. He was big. Everybody used to look up to him in that school because he always been tall, and he was always mean, but he was cool, and he was always cool with me. I never had no problem with him. We hanged out. And then what happened was I finally talked to some kids. What happened to me is this. I went to bathroom one time. I didn't want to be in the class, and I asked for a pass, and I went to the bathroom. And when I go in the bathroom, there's two brothers, African Americans in there, all dressed cool, back in those days with the we used to wear the Spanish and black. We used to wear the pro-kits and all that stuff, And I was dressed like I just came from Cuba. I still didn't know English.
Came off a boat.
Yeah, so I look like I came out of the boat. But now you got to realize I grew up in Havana, in the capital, in my neighborhood. It was a mean neighborhood. So I don't take shit from nobody. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in the bathroom, and I see that they're talking to me in English. But I caught the hint. I know what they're asking. They're asking if I have money. So I'm fronting them like, yo, well, in Spanish, when a Spanish kid comes in. And the Spanish kid looks at me, looks at them, and say, in Spanish, say, what's going on? And I explained to him, yo, they think I'm a punk, and they're trying. So he talked to them in English, and they left. And then he asked me, are you Boricua? Which is, are you Puerto Rican? And I told him, yes. I'm not stupid. So we doing our thing, and as I'm washing my hands, I looked at him, I said, listen, I'm not Puerto Rican, I'm Cuban. And he started laughing, but that laugh of, yo, smart mother of Hubbard, you know what you're doing, you're not gonna. So we became friends. He told me his name, I got his name. When I went back to class, I told all my people in my class, I said, what happened? I said, I'm gonna see who he hangs out with, and I bet you in a week, I'm gonna be hanging out in that group. And that's just what happened. In a week, I was hanging out with him, and they were all ghetto brothers. That's how I met a guy named Primo, and he was talking about starting a division, which was to become the 12th division. And he asked me, do you want to be part down? Because I was already in there. I said, of course. But what happened as we forming, he was on parole, and he get busted for some stupid shit, and he goes away, and that division just stood in the air. But this time, I'm going to my neighborhood, because I already got a whole bunch of friends where I live at, and I'm telling them, yo, I'm bringing down the ghetto brothers over here, and they were all down. So I talked to another member, and he said, start it up. And I started the 12th division on Girard Avenue with all the kids. Eventually, I went to Benji. We spoke to Benji, and he gave us the blessing, and we had the 12th division. Through the whole thing, we were still wearing colors, man. I wanted to wear colors. That was the whole idea. What attracted me was the aloe look, the color, the NC boots, you know, the handkerchief in the back, you know, the chain in your boots, you know, and you're right if you single or you taken in the, you know, the whole that was what I loved. So the word comes down. I might have to tell you, as a club, we had an apartment on 165th Street. You know, on the third floor, we had an apartment. That was our clubhouse. Everybody used to go there. So we had the Savage Club in 167 in Morris. That was the 24th division. I knew them all. The original president of that club was a man by the name of Twist. I knew Twist because Twist's brother used to go out to school with me. And we had a little basketball club, and he used to be the best player in our basketball club. Eventually, something happened in that club, and he got killed, and another person by the name of Angel took over. And Wildman was the vice president. Me and Wildman was like this. So what I'm trying to tell you, I had connection with all the groups. They used to come and visit my club. We had the 7th Division on Acton Avenue. This is all West Side. Mm-hmm. And they were huge. And they didn't mess around. So finally the word come down, we can't wear the colors. I am pissed. I go to Benji. I'm like, yo, can't be doing this, man. You can't be taking my color. That's my pride. Say, no, we got to take it. It's only one division that is allowed to wear the colors. It's been so long, I can't tell you the division that it was, but it was on the east side. So us in the 7th division, in the 19th division of Ghetto Brother, used to be in Morris by Taft High School. We all got together and we were like, what are we going to do? Because they were wearing the black beret with the red star. You can't wear it. But check this out. I can't wear that. I can't go home with a black beret and a red star. I'm Cuban. That's Che Guevara stuff. My father would have killed me.
Let me explain that. I want to explain why I took the beret with the red star. The beret, of course, is a revolutionary sign.
Yeah.
Right? And the red star is also a revolutionary star, and it's in opposition to the system that's going on. A lot of things that I learned from the Black Panthers were about how to disguise yourself. Because back then, Muslims were all around, and they were all packing, right? And used to sell the incense, right? And the young lords that were selling the newspapers, they were all packing. And they all wore berets. Okay? So I figured in order for us to integrate into that part of an organization, the best way is also to identify with them through the beret and the red star. So that's why I chose that.
But we came out with our own idea. What we did was we decided, let's get red berets for the boys with the words, the letters GB for Ghetto Brother in white. And for the girls, because we had a lot of girls, white berets with red letters, GS. And that's how we used to walk around to identify ourselves. And that's how we used to do it. Now, you got to realize, where I was going to school, some people knew I was Ghetto Brother. Because at one time I was wearing my color when I used to come out of school. For some reason, in Lower East Side and in other places, I hear that the Ghetto Brothers and the Joblins and in the Fountains get along. We didn't get along in my school. They had had some history with the 3rd division, with the 3rd chapter from Clement, where some colors was taken. So we didn't get along. We didn't get along. So they were always, They chased a couple of my friends. They used to go to school there, but they never chased me. What's funny is, and this is the part that it amazes me. You know, we used to do a lot of hooky party. I'm sure you, when you was growing up, you did a lot of hooky parties. We go to somebody's house. We got the black light. We got the straw. We put in the slow songs. Everybody's grinding. And what's funny was, I was in there with half of all the javelins and all the screaming fountain hanging out. And they knew who I was. They gave me a lot of looks. They were always looking at me, you know, but they never approached me at all. Now, I'm not telling you that I'm a mean mother hover, because I'm not. But for some reason, I guess the way that I carry myself, I used to carry myself with a lot of respect. And I used to treat everybody in that school, you know, cool. And they knew I was connected with the space and all that. So they left me alone, you know, but we had a couple rumbles, not with them, with some other people. The cops was always fucking with us, but because we were messing with them too. See, now today is Halloween. We used to have so many buildings that used to be connected. You didn't want to pass by in your green and white. At that time, it was green and white, because you was gonna get bummed. We were bumming them with eggs. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't want to come around. We used to have a park. We got a park over there. It's called Malali's. At that time, you had a swimming pool and an ice skating ring, an indoor basketball court and an outdoor basketball court. We used to own all that. We didn't pay to go to none of that stuff. So we used to have problems with other people. I remember there was a group of white boys used to come over there before the 7 o'clock group to go in for ice skating, playing hockey. And one of my friends, one of our members, is Mousy, may he rest in peace. He was over there talking shit, you know, 'cause he was that guy. He's that guy.
I know, Mousy.
That he likes to talk shit. And when they came out, they beat him up. And we were like, what? You beat him up in our neighborhood? And this is our place? And you coming from uptown the Bronx and you think, wait till they come the next week. Let me just say they never came back. And I'm going to tell you all we did. But that bus went home without windows and without wheels. And a lot of people have black eyes. They never came back. You know, so that's how we used to get along with other gangs, because they all used to come to the swimming pool. And we were always there. Yo, we used to play, and this is my favorite game. We used to play Johnny on the Pony with other gangs. See who, if you could break our group, our Ghetto Brothers, and see if we could break your group, Savage Skulls. You know, we had some Saigons used to come, because they used to be on the other side too, on 22. So that's how I was going. What happened was I was the president, and one day, years passed by. I must have been I was really happy to be a Ghetto Brother. Years went by, couple years, 3 or 4 years, and the 7th Division broke up, and some dude from there came into the club when I was in there talking about he was going to be the new president. So when I came in there, and I was like, who the hell are you? He said, I'm going to be the new president. I said, that shit ain't working. What happened was I was going to go off on the dude, but I could see all my members, they're okay with the idea. They got too comfortable just being a member. They didn't care. You know, after time, you just become a little comfortable with it. So, you know, I said, well, listen, the guy told me, come to my house, we're going to have a meeting, and we're going to figure this thing out. I said, okay, fuck it, let's do that. So I went to his house. He used to be a super, and he started talking all this crazy shit. Because everybody, when they want to come into a group, They want to bring their ideas. Don't fix something if it's not broke. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what? I'm not going with this shit. First of all, I'm not coming down from my place to give it to you that you're not even part of our group because you're not from my neighborhood. You're a foreigner. Because we used to call ourselves the Girard Boys, besides the Ghetto Brothers. So I decided to step out. When I step out, then I got involved with some other groups. Somehow, believe it or not, I went to a house, apartment, to talk to a president, and guess this one, you're going to love this one. He was the president of the 19th division, 19th or 9th division of the Royal Javelins. Who's going to say that I was going to go talk to a Royal Javelin when we was always having problem with them? And I remember going there, and he was like, yeah, you could come with us. And I was telling him, you know, I was a Ghetto brother. And the man says, yeah, man, there's a guy there. His name is Cisco. And I looked at him, I said, yo, wait. I'm Cisco.
That's a tall guy.
He was like, you Cisco? I said, yeah, that's me. He said, well, listen, you can't be Cisco because I'm Cisco and there's only could be a Cisco. And I said, no, you're wrong, my brother. You tall, I'm shorter than you. You be big Cisco and I'm little Cisco, but I'm not changing my name. So I ran with them for a year and a half. I remember at that time they were having problems with the space. I don't know why. I just got into it when they were having problems. I remember they're coming from the Lower East Side and getting together, and we doing a rollout looking for space. We never found them. I guess after that they fixed the situation. There was no more problem. Then the screaming phantom, because they like this. You see a javelin, you see a screaming phantom. They were having problem with the rippers. So we were waiting for them to come down for a rumble. They never came down. They fixed it, whatever it was. But all this time, like I tell you, the squad, the 24th division, always used to come to a club, always used to come to the swimming pool. And by this time, Angel, who was the president of the 24th division, had moved to Pennsylvania, and the vice president, which was Wildman, became the president. He was always trying to recruit me. Yo, come with us, man. Where you with this? Where you with that? Come with us, man. You cool with us? Come with us. And I became a Savage Gold, and that was my last. And I stood there until the whole division broke up. You got to understand, I knew Alo Manny. He grew up with me. I knew Hollywood. I knew Comanche. You know, I never met, Blackie. I never got to meet him, but I met Hollywood. I met Comanche. We hanged out. They used to come and hang out by the park, and then eventually I got a little older, Oh, I must tell you, this is a good one. We took over this building, abandoned building in Woody Crest, and we just took it over. We threw out some junkies that was there, and we took it over, and in the basement, we made a club. And we were playing music in that club, throwing parties. People used to come from all over. And the reason why I say that, because I've been hearing about, Kool Herc and all his music and all that. We were playing the same thing in 94 and 95, and we were playing the same records. We were playing, first, Babe Ruth first base. We were playing all that in my club. We had the black light with the straw, the posters, we made our own little club. It was crazy.
Brother
So,
Cisco,
yes.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I wanna pause this one, let it upload, and then we'll re-record in 1 second. All right?
I'm almost done. Go ahead.
Hold on.